Everyone, Joe Waxman here. And in this video, I want to look at all the major aspects. Okay, so let's just jump right in. I'm not going to waste any time. Don't forget to like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Okay. I'm going to open a different chart. To begin with. So in order to understand the aspects, you have to look at the natural zodiac with Aries at the ascendant. So with the first aspect we're going to look at is the conjunction. Now, the conjunction has an Aries vibe to it. Why? Because it is the two planets together acting as one, two or more planets or points, right? We could say that the sun conjunct ascendant, that's a conjunction, even though the ascendant is not a planet, it's a point, right? But in Bach, he has sun conjunct the ascendant, exalted sun conjunct the ascendant. He's also got Venus conjunct Mercury, and to some extent, any planet in a sign has a certain level of conjunction. But I mean, obviously, the wider it is, the looser it is. I mean, I don't really have like a degree. Like some people are just very they're very want to be black and white about it. They're like, within this degree is a conjunction. Without outside of that, it's not. It doesn't really work that way. Like just like we can make a division between day and night, but the lived reality is that it's a flow. It's a continuum. There's no real defining point where day ends and night begins, right? But at some point, it gets sort of gray and then dark, and then we're just like, okay, it's night-ish, and then it's night. You know what I mean? Whatever words you want to call it. But it's not very dogmatic. It's not really like hard line where conjunction, doesn't work anymore. It'll still have its effect, even if like 15 degrees or more. It just won't be very strong, very powerful. Obviously, the closer it is, the more powerful it's going to be. And the conjunction has the influence of being very potent. I think that is the key word when we're talking about conjunctions. Potent. It has that Aries quality, that focused quality. And with that comes a lot of heat, a lot of intensity, a lot of passion, and a combining of energies. But there's a lot of friction. There's both like really strong good and bad. And obviously with Bach, we can see it like with his exalted Venus conjunct Mercury in the 12th house. That's highly, highly creative. Sun conjunct ascendant. If you listen about his music, you can hear the sun. You can hear it. Like I don't know about you, I can hear it. It's audible. That exalted sun conjunct ascendant. His music is so bright. I can't. I mean, obviously, nobody can do it justice like that. But I mean, it's conjunctions are really. Let's look at some other people. They're very potent. And I could just pull it up from here, and we can leave it at that. So, like Woody Allen, right? He's got his sun conjunct Jupiter and Mercury. So, sun conjunct Jupiter is going to really expand the ego. Make this person larger than life, very excessive, very extravagant, full of themselves, full of self-belief. It's quite good in many ways, but it can be bloated and excessive. Where Woody Allen really, it's interesting. It's got the Jupiter conjunct Mercury, and in fact, a lot of comedians have this because Jupiter really expands the expression, right? These people are just like, oh my, like just like they can really, really excessively express. Another great example is Jim Carrey. He has an Aquarius, right? It's so goofy and weird, but so like Woody Allen is known for him like waxing philosophical, like but in a really funny way. He's great at that. That's the Sagittarian influence. I mean, I have Jupiter 9 degrees from my Mercury, so it's a little farther away, but I still have this very big, expressive kind of expression. Tends to not do so well on detail because Mercury is very detailed. Jupiter destroys the detail, just kind of like big and kind of expressive like that. All right. I'm just clicking on different people here, obviously. Okay, so like Jessica Alba, she yeah, she hasn't been like major in anything major for a while, but she's got like, old Taurus stellium. People love using that word stellium. It doesn't really matter. It's just a bunch of planets in a sign is what it is. But yeah, conjunctions, she's got Venus and she is beautiful. She's a very beautiful woman. So there's that. Drake, he's got the, these are not super tight, but he's got the Scorpio conjunctions, make him very deep and mysterious, sexual. Adele, she's got the Sun, Jupiter, and Taurus again, that voice, right? That's really what she's known for, just kind of like very big personality. Fiona Apple, Sun and Moon, in Virgo, Mercury in Virgo, and Mars and Jupiter in Cancer. So Jupiter is good here. Mars not so much, but yeah, interesting combinations there. Venus, Saturn. These are just going to concentrate the energies of those signs and planets and make them really, really potent, really strong. Okay. Both good and bad. Conjunctions can be difficult. Let me pull up somebody. Everyone's favorite non-president, Hillary Clinton. Oh my God. This is not such a good conjunction here. Neither is this. This is like too intense. And like people are like, oh, she's such a good person. No, she's not. She is like the most criminal politician on anywhere, right? Anyway, I mean, it's very evident in her astrology. You just have to be a fool not to realize this. But yeah, Mars, Pluto, Saturn in Leo, the pride, the ego. Mars is exactly conjunct Pluto. So intense. I mean, she's a killer. She's a murderer. I'm not saying that hyperbolically. And then this Scorpio stellium with Scorpio ascendant. I mean, she's diabolical. She is remember I was saying like the square between Leo and Scorpio with Bruce Lee? Yeah, well, this is the same thing, but with different planets, obviously. Pluto is conjunct Mars in Leo, along with Saturn. That's so intense. We'll see that with violence. This is quite violent because these are all very heavy masculine planets. I mean, this is super duper intense. She's not lightweight at all. Like, she's not. She is like out for blood. Like, she is deadly serious, right? This Scorpio and Leo, right? The same intensity that Bruce Lee, worked himself to like be the master of masters. I'm not making a comment about like other masters out there, but Bruce Lee, at least from what we know, is like incredibly, amazing. That same intensity, I mean, is going towards her whole career, and like I'll be like so much intense, like all those things about like the Clinton body count. That's real. Like people drop dead around them all the time, because they're criminals. The Clintons are murdering criminals. That's not hyperbolic. I'm not trying to be. It's not a political state. These are criminals. These are killers. Kurt Cobain with his conjunctions. Okay, I don't want this to take too long, but you get it. Like conjunctions are pretty obvious. They're super intense. Okay, let's look at the semi-sextile. I don't know. I'm gonna pull up my chart because it's easier to make sense of myself than it is other people, especially on the cuffs like this. All right, so what is the semi-sextile? It's either the 12th house or the second house relationship. When we're talking about Aries, it's Pisces or Taurus. And so what that means is that these are all self houses. We have pre-self, self, post-self, or subconscious, conscious, and then the external extension of who we are. For instance, like 12th house is the realm of the subconscious. It's the creative. It's the part of ourselves that we're motivated by and we're run by. Where we have our subconscious motivations there. This is where. So it's like, okay, like I don't like my whole life I've been chasing money, and like I'm just, as an example, like this hypothetical situation. I've been chasing money and working so hard, working my butt off, and well, and I don't know why. I'm just driven. I'm driven and driven. And then I did some therapy and deep soul searching and shadow work, and I realized it had to do with my psychological, my childhood trauma, the way I was raised, my parents, blah blah blah. That's all 12th house stuff that they're saying, and they're saying like my whole life has been run by my 12th house is what they're saying. So 12th house means psychological motivations, our hidden drive, what's really moving us, motivating us underneath. That's where we hide our karma. That's where we hide our trauma. That's where we hide our subconscious. That's where we hide our creativity. So all of these things are in the 12th house. In the second house, that's where we have our assets, our resources, our bank account, our house, our car, our net worth, our self-worth as well as our voice and food, right? It's the external self. We have the internal self, the external self. So semi-sextiles represent selfness, aspects of the self, whether it's pre-self or post-self. Okay. So now with that in mind, what you want to look for is mostly ascendant, sun, moon, ascendant, Lord, right? So I'm a Gemini, so communication is very natural and easy for me. However, my ascendant Lord, my sun Lord, Mercury, we do have mutual reception, not by degree, but it's in the 12th. So what that suggests is that I'm not a rapper, right? I'm not a Kanye West. I'm not a Biggie. I'm not a Donald Trump. All of these people will have, and I'm going to pull up some examples. Better way of expressing this, because 12th house is not, if my Mercury is in Cancer or Gemini, it would be much better, but it's in the 12th. So what that means is that I'm actually much more in tune with the hidden things, the psychological things. For astrology, it's good because now my Mercury, which is ruling my Sun and Venus, is also aided by Jupiter. Its South Node is in the realm of the 12th, the pre-self, the subconscious, the hidden mind, the secrets, all the mystical. Remember, it's still bringing forth elements, watery elements of the hidden nature. 8th house, 12th house. There's a lot of harmony there, right? So for secret, knowledge, deep digging, deep diving, 12th house is quite good, right? Second house more for expression. And let's look at I looked at him recently. Biggie. All right. So Biggie, also a Gemini, and he's got his Mercury in Taurus, right? So okay, well, that's similar to me. So maybe he's not such a great rapper. Oh, well, he's got Mars and Venus in Cancer. Okay, and then mutual reception between Mars and Jupiter. But he's also a really good storyteller. So he's got multiple things going on, right? The Mercury actually helps him not with his expression, but the depth of his ability to write intriguing rap songs that are not just like, it's not just sounds good, dope sound. Like there's actually like depth, meaning, story. He's really, like he can tell a whole story, and that has to do with the Mercury in Taurus. Mercury in Taurus also is very sensual, so it will help with the sensual expression But where he really excels with his ability to express himself is Mars conjunct Venus in Cancer. So this, even though he's a big guy, he actually was very sexually potent, you could say. His energetically, like he could attract women, and he knew how to use himself. He knew how to use his own sexuality. That's the Mars Venus conjunction, but also the expression, even though it's not Mercury, Mars ruling the second and Venus is ruling the third, right? And they're in the fourth. So, and it's still post the sun. So second house to the sun. So his Gemini is having really good expression, and the dignity of Mars is Mars and Jupiter are dignifying each other there, right? Let's look at one more example. Similar, but different. So Kanye West. Kanye West, also Gemini sun with Mercury in the 12th. I know I'm bringing up three of the similar examples, but just what we can look at other. But he's got his ascendant also in Cancer. So that's really helping with his expression. 12th house help with the creativity a lot. And then Mercury in the 12th. But Venus or Mercury in Taurus, 12th from the sun, but Venus also in Taurus. So Venus, so that's he. So he not only has a very sensual expression. Venus is here to help with all that. Mars as well, Mars and Venus. So again, the sexuality between Mars and Venus, that's really strong. And then Cancer ascendant, right? I'm missing Cancer, so that's why I'm not a good rapper, right? I don't have strong Cancer. If I had strong Cancer, I could. And then we'll look at everyone's favorite ex-president, Donald Trump. Donald Trump has the most captivating speeches of all time. Maybe you hate Donald Trump. Maybe you don't think so. A lot of people do think so. So just, objectively, we have to say, yeah, he's an excellent speaker. He's a Gemini, right? But he also has a very strong second house from Gemini, which is Cancer. Okay. So the expression, the voice, the assets, right? The ability to communicate and express himself. So that also second house. Okay. Another thing that we could look at with the second house, I'm just pulling up. Let's see, Tina Turner. What is she looking for to me? Well, we could look for, like Tina Turner. What was the thing? Like Tina Turner and didn't she have an abusive relationship? Who's the guy? I don't remember. Tina and Ike and Tina, right? Like he abused her. Well, Mars is one of the things she's looking for in a mate. Well, we can also look to Saturn. Saturn's in Aries. South node, that's not so good because it's debilitated here. Aries is very, not very good for Saturn. Saturn will be quite authoritarian in an abusive way. And then there's some imbalance with drugs and alcohol as well. All right, but we could look also, okay, this is a difficult one. Saturn's ruling her 6 again. So difficult relations. Let's find somebody else. Sid and Nancy. Okay, Sid Vicious. So we know about Sid and Nancy a little bit. He's got a south node. Obviously, he's young, so south node, sun. He's gonna look for somebody who's very, beautiful, but because Venus, Taurus, but also a lot of ego, a big personality, and a lot of its energy is gonna be wrapped up in relationship. But we could also look to Mars, because Mars will be the hidden motivation behind his relationships. Okay, and here's a real secret, real giveaway. In any house, you want to know what's going on in that house, but you want to know what the subconscious secret hidden motivations are. So for the person themselves, you can look to the 12th house. For their particular how they go about choosing a partner, you look to the 6th house and the 6th lord. Okay, Mars ruling the 6th house. Mars in Cancer. Mars in Cancer is it does not behave well. It's very emotional. It can be violent. It can be drug addicted. Nancy Spungen was not a great person. She was a drug dealer. She was a heroin addict. Okay, so we don't really get any indication of that's the kind of person that he wants with his seventh house, but we do with his sixth house and sixth lord, Mars, and that's in the eighth quadrant, conjuncting maybe the ninth, no, ninth lord by or ninth cusp by 10 degrees, but so eighth, ninth. In any case, here we can see much more why he was so attracted to somebody like Nancy Spungen, right? It's not necessarily that he wants somebody who's so destructive, right? Well, we look to the sixth house, we see Mars in Cancer. That's the hidden secret behind his relationships. Okay? Take that to the bank. That's a good secret. You're not going to hear that anywhere else, at least as far as I know. Okay. So yeah, you can use that. That's quite a good giveaway between not between for figuring out, you know, what's going on with the person. You look at the 12th house to that, you know, their sun, their moon, their ascendant lord, so Mars. You know, for Scorpio ascendant, and then you look to the 12th, you look to the second, you look before, you look after, and that's how you can understand a lot about a person. Tom Waits, singer songwriter. So he's got his sun in the ascendant, and then Venus and Jupiter in the second. Okay. Neither an Aquarian, neither do well, but there's exactly conjunct Venus and Jupiter. So, and he's a weird guy. Like, well, he's got a sun conjunct Chiron, but also the Aquarius, right? So that's second house for that. Let's see who else. So Barbara Walters, she's not a singer, but she speaks. South Node from the sun. Second. Who else? Let's see, Alan Watts. Yeah, I mean, he's got some, you know, sort of a cascade of second house influences. He's a speaker. Any case, very white. So he's got from his sun, he's got nothing in his second house. He's the singer, very white. And so Jupiter is ruling his second house. Jupiter's in Virgo, so that's not so good. But he does Mercury's in Virgo, so that's bonifying, that's dignifying this Jupiter and this the whole Virgo house. And then he has from his sun second house activation with Venus here, Venus and Mars, right? And then so he's very sensual, sexual, and he's got the Venus Mars conjunction. He's always thinking about, like, you know, women, obviously, and although he's a big guy, he's got a very intact sexuality, right? So yeah, so that's semi-sextile. I think I'm going to leave it at that for brevity's sake, and I'm going to cover the what do we have left? The sextile, the square, the trine, and the opposition. I'll do another video for those, but maybe we can pull up another example here just to let's see. will.i.am, singer of Black Eyed Peas, and I think creative director as well. He really doesn't have much in the second house. He's got Mars, but that's third whole sign house. Let's see, Saturn's in Cancer, but it's stationary, so that's really interesting. But he does have second house activation with from the sun, second from the sun. Jupiter's in domicile in Pisces. That's good. Dignifying his sun, and then a lot of second house, but he's not really like, I mean, let's get a singer. We looked at Tina Turner, but look at her again. Neptune in the second. I have Neptune in the second. I'm not a sing. I was a singer, but that's not. We looked at Mercury. Mercury is conjunct the Sun. Venus. Venus, although it's still in the same sign, it is after the Sun. So interesting. There's not a whole lot of second house. I mean, she's got Neptune in Virgo, second Lord conjunct the Sun, in Sag, but that's not that great. And then Venus in Sag. So kind of an anomaly, but Jupiter is in domicile in the eighth. She has a very complicated chart. So really interesting. Yeah. Not an easy example. Let's pick somebody. Let's look again. Gwen Stefani. Okay, again. So nothing in the second house. I mean, North Node is in the second quadrant, but third whole sign house. Saturn's in Taurus, so it's the second Lord Saturn in Taurus. And then nothing really second from Libra except Neptune and Scorpio MC. So interesting. I mean, not a ton of voice or expression activation, except that, I mean, maybe MC being in the second position from the Sun has something to do with it. Ascendant Lord, second house Lord, Saturn. Saturn trine Mars and Capricorn Mars. Well, interesting. I mean, Cancer, it's quite good. I'm guessing it's really has a lot to do with this North Node. But I mean, Gwen Stefani, even though she's a good singer, she's really just like a public persona. She's not like known for her, voice alone. But she's good. She's a good singer. See Frank Sinatra. Now, Frank Sinatra, we should get something. I mean, obviously, so Moon, Sun and Mercury in the second house, second from the ascendant. But then also we're getting Venus, second from Sun. And yeah, Jupiter's in domicile, second Lord in domicile. So that's quite good as well. Alrighty. All right, I'm gonna wrap it up for this one. I'll do another one, continuing the aspects another time. And all right, I hope you enjoyed it and got something valuable out of it. So yeah, I'll see you again soon. All right, thanks and bye for now.